Welcome to MidLIFE Matters, where we celebrate women's wisdom and wit. I'm Georgian Lussier, your host, and I'm delighted to introduce today's guest, Jennifer Short. Jen is the founder of Coalition for A Better Wallingford, and she's here to share her story with us. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you.
Delighted to have you.
I'm pleased to be here. I watch your program, so I'm really excited to be here.
Great. Super. So let's talk about Coalition for Better Wallingford. In 2012, you would have what I would think is kind of a call to action around issues in the town involving alcohol abuse among teens, alcohol and drug abuse. So share why and how Coalition for Better Wallingford came about.
Will do.
Okay.
In November of 2012, unfortunately, I got a phone call that no parent ever wants to receive, and it was the New Haven Police advising that they wanted to meet with me, and it was to share some very personal and tragic news. My daughter Taylor, who at the time was 20 years of age, died from a substance overdose. Following her services, I was gathered in our living room with her peers, my partner's children, my son, and some other folks, and we were talking, and they started naming names, and I wasn't quite paying attention to what was transpiring, but the names went from not one to two, but to dozens and dozens, and I stopped the conversation, said, "What are you talking about? What are these names?" And it was names of other Wallingford young adults that too had passed away from substance abuse, and I thought, what's going on here? Why don't we know this? And so my call to action was I dove into research, statistics, trying to find out what was going on here in the community. And on December 7th, I went to the town council and I spoke to our fathers and the mayor and said, what are we doing about this? My research showed that the CDC had registered Wallingford as a town with an epidemic problem. And what could we do as a community? Because personally, it takes a village, and together, the mayor partnered us with Youth and Social Services, Craig Turner, and we formed the Coalition for a Better Wallingford with just a nucleus of folks. Dr. Sal Menzo, there was Marion Gracie, who was a guidance counselor of my daughters, but now was working for Youth and Social Services. John Letourneau from Town Council joined us, Roxanne McKay from the Board of Ed, and that small group was the founding fathers, as we'll say, of the coalition. Grassroots, nonprofit, and today it's just caring folks that want to make a change regarding substance abuse and alcohol and making healthy, caring, responsible citizens in the community.
Well, thank you, and certainly I'm very sorry about your loss. And what ideas do you have about why this wasn't more well known previously, that we were at epidemic levels?
You know, I don't know if it was just something that didn't register per se. When we started pulling the statistics, I met with Chief Struble at the time from the fire department, and until those statistics were truly pulled for the research I was doing, we saw 110 transports from Wallingford, 06492 zip code, over to Midstate, and that was for overdose. Not all of those, of course, passed away, but we also saw in a window of 3 years, 53 young adults in Wallingford passed away. And I just think that the numbers escalated, but it wasn't something that we were putting a radar on as a community. And until we brought all of this forward and asked for a partnership here to get some kind of a call to action and to really put our focus as a community on keeping folks alive and helping them with these issues and problems.
What are some of the activities and events that are involved with Coalition for Better Wallingford?
Our most important activity that I think is on the forefront is our Hope and Support Group on Monday evenings. We have at the Yalesville Methodist Church over 25, 30 members that go regularly to help each other, peer-to-peer support through this topic. We also have a grief support for those folks that have lost a loved one and to help deal with that loss. And we also are the supporters of Red Ribbon Week, which we just had in October. It's a national platform that we partner with Youth and Social Services as well as the Mayor's Substance Abuse Council. And we have a whole week of events from our kickoff to our final event, which is our Walk of Hope. And this year we had over 400 plus attendees for that event. Different performers, speakers, and everyone was engaged in it and really putting focus on the awareness of what's happening.
And Walk of Hope, I understand, also was in honor of other people that have been lost, right?
Yes, absolutely. It was a walk of hope, a hope to remember, and to together collaborate as a community on hope for the future for all of our loved ones.
And there were luminaries?
There were luminaries. We had over 550 luminaries that members of the community purchased as a donation because we are a nonprofit. We're always looking for funding. AMA is supporting us. We applied for a grant. The Trail of Terror sent us a wonderful donation to help us get off the ground so that we could afford all of these different activities and events.
And then you mentioned that you, for example, were recently at a school, like even just this week. So
just this week.
Okay.
In the early fall, I spoke to the parents at Parents' Night at both DAG and at Moran for the middle school. And this week, I attended Lyman Hall and their health classes and spoke to our sophomores, a few juniors were in the class as well, about substance abuse and the effects of and how they can help each other peer-to-peer. If they know someone in trouble, that they don't have to be afraid to speak up and help them through what they're seeing that's happening at their age level. Because we found, we did a survey. The coalition sponsored a at-risk behavioral survey with the school system, and the survey results showed the largest time where the kids are getting into these at-risk behaviors is between sophomore and junior year. So we went back to the schools to say we want to get in and speak to these kids so that we can hopefully change the curve of those statistics to a downward trend rather than an upward.
Is there a team of people that volunteer doing that?
Yes, there is. We have an education committee now, as well as just a board of group that goes in and speaks. Some of them are teachers in other towns, and we've been able to do this collectively also with Dr. Menzo and his health group as well. They're rewriting the curriculum, and we're partnering with them to help them. And
also you have been involved with public hearings and legislative activities, your group?
We have. We're trying to get, right now, Narcan passed as a, it is a, it's like an EpiPen, but it reverses the effects of the opiates. So when an emergency response team comes upon an individual that has potentially overdosed, they can administer this Narcan, and it will reverse the effects, and it will save a life. So we're really pushing to get that legalized, and as recent as a couple of weeks, it is coming down from the state so that all first responders will have access to that drug. Another platform, the Good Samaritan, which is no one will get in trouble if they call 911 and someone has passed out and potentially are in trouble of possibly losing their life. We're always looking at different bills, especially around recovery and mental health. And you know, we want to get more assistance to those folks. So many times these folks go into mid-state or a hospital of any choice, and after the effects of the drugs have worn off, they're left to go home. And we're trying to say they need more than that. They need help. Beds are few and far between, so they're turning them around and back to the streets where, unfortunately, an addict is going to go look for whatever they can and possibly end up back in the hospital in a few days.
And what is your button, Count Me In?
Count Me In.
mean?
It's one of our platforms.
Okay.
We started this at the Gardeners Market in 2013. Liz Landau and our friends over at Wallingford Center, Inc. Invited us and allowed us to set up a table to hand out our flyer and information, and we came up with Count Me In as our platform. Can we count you in to support our initiatives and our goals? And we also have a Count Me In club of young adults that meet tonight, Friday nights. These are very young adults. There are middle schoolers, but it's to give them something to do and collaborate with Ulebrick Boys and Girls, as well as the YMCA and the Hubcap, and have a place for them to go and gather on Friday evenings. And we have counselors there, and we do activities with them. And we've seen a positive trend in that, from attendance to 3 up to as many as sometimes 18 young adults. So.
That is such a tribute to your daughter, Taylor. And I understand you also have a foundation with a scholarship. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Taylor Short Foundation is a scholarship, and it's for any Wallingford graduate, senior, from either Lyman Hall or Sheehan, and I give one to both schools in her memory, that is pursuing their education. And it is essay-driven. And the essay is around substance abuse and whether the individual's ever had any personal stories or just their thoughts and opinions. And I have a scholarship committee that reviews them. And last year, very pleased, we gave out 2 to Lyman Hall and 2 to Sheehan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Again, such a tribute. So good for you that you were really able to turn such a dark experience into something that offers light to other people.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So how can people find out more about Coalition for Better Wallingford?
We're around every corner.
Okay.
We have a website, and it's a very robust website, cbwlfd.org. And on the website, we also have Facebook. So you can friend us on Facebook, or our website has a number of resources. So if there are families out there or any individuals out there that are looking for assistance, we've got various entities that they can reach to if they're looking for support.
And what if someone wanted to be involved?
We have meetings, and it's the last Thursday of the month at the Hubcap, usually right between 6:30 and 7 p.m. And our website has all of our various activities that are running.
Let's talk about you.
Okay.
How you've come to this point in your life. I would characterize you as having a very forward-looking, unusual career in that you have job shared for 10 years. And with the same woman, which I just find fascinating. So how about if you talk a little bit about your current job and what you think some of the requirements are to effectively job share?
Good question.
Okay.
Tough one.
All right.
Laura Connolly is my partner at work. We actually have been together almost 13 years as a job share. We held various positions within the customer service organization at Verizon Wireless here in Wallingford. And then we took on several roles, still within that same vein. We both have that drive to help people and be a part of the customer service team. Our recent role or recent promotion we took on is we are now consultants for the headquarters, and when they closed our center in Meriden, we applied for this, and it's still within the customer service organization with a little bit of a headquarters flair to it, and we review projects with respects to training and or marketing initiatives, and we get them ready to roll out to the pro or the customer pro representatives across the nation for Verizon Wireless. So it's
Well, that's a pretty big job.
an interesting role. I enjoy it very much. A lot of detail. For effective job share, though, your question, you really just have to have a good communication plan going at it. We speak each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
Some folks think that we only work 3 days a week, but we really work, I would say, probably more than 5 days a week, just to make sure that it's seamless to the employees as well as our peers and our leadership, and that we don't ever skip a beat when it comes to a project, deadlines, rolling out, making sure that everything has been handled efficiently and effectively.
So do you work from home largely?
Largely now from home.
Okay.
The call center in Meriden, where we were housed, is undergoing some transformation, and they're moving a lot of folks, as well as ourselves, to Wallingford. But in the interim, I've set up an office at home, and I go into the office once a week to handle conference calls. But
And Laura
primarily
works
from
at home too?
Yes.
Okay, so is there anyone else you're aware of in the organization that has a shared job similar to yours?
Yes. Verizon's they were very active with the working parent and the role of the working parent 13 years ago when it was a big topic
Okay.
across many large companies. There is a job share in Wallingford in the Human Resource Department, as well as I know of a few of them nationally, now that I'm on the national team, and I've talked with them over conference calls, but they embrace it and they want to be able to support women that want to work as well as raise a family. So,
And is it largely women?
It is that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Because women are doing so much, right?
That's true.
They do have to combine things. So you started working right out of high school.
I did.
And
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. You've had all these promotions with your partner.
Yeah.
So where did you start? Kind of take us through a little bit some of the jobs that you had.
When I graduated in 1980 from Lyman Hall, back then many of us within my peer group went right into the workforce, whether it be for SNET and some of these large organizations here in Connecticut. Some of my friends went on to college, but not many of them, and I chose to go right into the workforce as well. A local company here, Novometrics Medical Systems, hired me to be an administrative assistant, and I took that job on, and I learned everything from answering phones to helping the production controller assistant with the stock room and what needed to be done in order to plan out the making of these medical boxes that they made. And then from there, I applied at the Hartford Insurance Group because I felt I wanted to get into that customer service area. And my boss at the time felt it was a good step for me as well, because there was nothing within the medical field in that office for a customer service team. So I went to the Hartford with his support and letters, and they hired me to be a property casualty licensed agent, and I got my agent's license within the first year. And while I was there, they asked me if I would go down to Washington, D.C. and work with the senior citizens at AARP with their personal lines, the auto and home. So I traveled down to D.C. in my 20s and did that. And as time progressed, one of the managers left the Hartford and went to work for Cigna and reached out and said, I'd like you to come join my team. And it was another opportunity for me to get into now the leadership and to become a supervisor. So I followed and I went to Cigna and I worked there for a couple of years within the workers' compensation division, and I learned that entire field. And then I met my husband at the time and got married, and it just so happened I was going to have Taylor, and the Cigna office was closing, and it was time for me now to take the buyout and go home and become a mom for a few years, which I did. And then I realized we need to pay a mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So collectively, he was working at SNET, and I went and applied at Verizon Wireless, where at the time my mother-in-law was working.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the job the first time,
Okay.
and I didn't get it the second time.
Persistence.
But persistence,
Yeah.
and that comes from my dance background.
Mm-hmm.
I got the job the third time, and have been with them since May of 1998.
Wonderful. And your dance background, let's talk about how you think your experiences in performing really helped you build the skills that have made you so successful.
Yeah, dance, it's not only an art that I enjoy, but it also taught me such life lessons at a very young age. Just the self-confidence and being able to walk into a room. Miss Judy at the time, who I say is my mentor, gave me those life skills to be able to be confident, disciplined, perseverance, to be able to go in and keep working at something, because dance is a very difficult, and tap was my favorite.
Okay.
And the intricacies that are involved in tap dancing, and being able to overcome and learn those steps. And then the other bigger piece is working as a team, because my dances didn't consist of just me. It was a team, and being able to work together to learn the dance and to execute and perform. And I'm very fortunate that dance found me, because I believe that it gave me all of those skills and life lessons to be able to be where I am today, and to be able to keep looking forward, as you mentioned earlier.
And Miss Judy, for those viewers who maybe are not familiar with who Miss
Right.
Judy was?
Yep. The Academy of Dance, which
Okay.
is located on Center Street, is now run by her daughter, Courtney Billings. And Miss Judy, at the time, her mom started the Academy of Dance. And that was actually started back on Simpson Court. And my mother signed all of us children up. There were 6 of us. We all danced, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. And we all danced as young adults, children. But she just emulated everything that I admired. She was a single mom, and she was running a business, and she just helped me develop all of those ideals that I thought were so important in life. And she had a dream, and she followed it and believed in it, as I have a dream, and I'm following it now as well.
So another tribute. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And there sound like a third-generation dance studio now, right?
There is.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have this idea that as we age, we can develop what I call zenith years, where we get to pull together our experiences and the very best of ourselves, and a little extra wisdom thrown in there that can help us achieve some things that maybe would have seemed like out of reach when we were younger. What do you picture you might want to add to your life next, or maybe get rid of? You know, just what to throw away, what to keep, what to build?
I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't throw anything away, because everything that has been handed to me are such important life lessons. But to build on, the coalition is so new. It's only 2 years old. We have so far to go with the initiatives. So I'd like to build on that and help the board and the rest of the members take that to the next place where it can go. We'll see.
It's unfolding, right?
It is unfolding,
That's
and it's so
wonderful.
new that, and very busy. And my son is graduating, so we'll see what the next step,
chapter.
the next
Yes,
chapter
absolutely.
of Jen's life.
And so I now would like to invite you to reflect. I know you've said you wouldn't throw anything away. I certainly can understand that. But if you could write a letter to your 25-year-old self. Dear Jen.
Because I
oh,
did
yeah.
write myself a
Good.
letter. When you mentioned it, and I've seen your program, and I thought, wow, what would I say to Jen at 25? Well, at 25, as I mentioned earlier, I wasn't married. I didn't have a boyfriend. A lot of my friends were already moving on and getting married or having their first child, and I thought, wow, what would I say? So I wrote, "Dear Jennifer, be patient and always keep an open mind. Listen carefully to those around you. Accept that you may need to trust in their judgment over your own and accept their help even when you don't think you need it. Remember, life is a gift. Enjoy it. Learn from it and always remain true to yourself."
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, after seeing your program several times, I thought, this is a thinker. But there's some things that I've done in the past, and I know I probably could have listened a little closer and or taken some advice when it was offered. So that's what I would tell Jennifer at 25.
Okay. Anything additional at 40?
It's never too late. 3 words. It's never too late. It's never too late to go after your passions, to go after an education. I didn't mention it earlier, but I didn't go to college right out of high school, and now I'm in college, and I've obtained my associates, and I'm almost 3/4 way through my bachelor's.
Wonderful.
So I'm working on that, and at 40 was when I began my education, so hopefully I'll complete it.
Perfect. You will complete it. I
know,
have
I know.
no doubt whatsoever.
I had to take a little vacation, but
a little
I'm
break.
right.
Yeah. But as you say, it's never too late.
It's never too late.
So this has been just wonderful to have you here, and I'm sure that our audience has really learned a lot about what's happening here in Wallingford and all the people that are contributing to it.
Right.
And I just think you're doing a tremendous service for all of us, so thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to close with a quote that I like, which is from Louisa May Alcott. And she said, "I am not afraid of storms, for I am learning to sail my ship." And all your work makes me think of that. So happy sailing, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And this has been MidLIFE Matters. Please tune in to hear other fascinating women in future segments. Georgian Lussier, your host. Thanks again.